Hey everybody, I wanted to share with you right now 3 things that I do at the end of every single year to make more money in the next year. And these sound like maybe they're not going to make that big of a deal, but they do. They actually do, and I do this every single year at the end of the year. And it's not some big long list that's going to take you 10 hours to do. I promise. Okay, so the first one is at the end of the year, and I don't know about you, but it's very easy for me to look around at everybody else on Instagram and all the business podcasts and stuff and think like, oh man, I stink. I didn't do anything this year. And that's never true. And it's not true for you either if you're listening to this. So the easiest way to get yourself out of that kind of funk and set you up to be in a good mindset for the coming year is to tap into gratitude. And the best way to do that, I think, is to grab your phone and scroll back in your photos to January 1st, 2025, and go through and look at all your photos. And if you're a Virgo like me, delete any duplicates, clean it up, but really look through starting back in January of this year and look at what you did and make a list. Make a list of awesome personal things that you did, trips you took, people that you saw, dinners out with friends. Like, make a list of, and go month by month if you want. You know, in January, what were the 3 best things that you did or that happened to you in January that you have photos of? And just be grateful as you're making this list and remembering things that you probably forgot that you did this year. So I love to do that because I always forget, or I think of like, oh, that thing that I did seems like it was 3 years ago, but it really wasn't. It was 10 months ago. So go through month by month and write it down in a journal or a new piece of paper. Write out the highs of that month, whether they're business or personal. And it's great if you can do both. So also, like, make a little note of places that you went and people that you saw, and we'll save that for later. I will come back to that. But when you start to make a list like this, first of all, you realize everything that you truly have achieved and accomplished. And sometimes, another thing around this time of year is everybody gets into like, oh, my revenue was up this many % and I made this much money and da-da-da-da-da. And, that's great. But what's the point? Sometimes the best thing you can do in a year is reconnect with an old friend from high school or take an amazing trip with your family. So those things count. This is not to go through your photos and make a list of just business accomplishments. This is, because you know me, your business and your life are all entwined together. It's all the same thing. So a win in your personal life is a win in your business and vice versa. So looking at this list, crafting this list, reliving the memories, and really feeling into it with a sense of gratitude. Did your business do so well that you were able to take this trip with your family? Did your business do so well? Like for me, I invited my team over, my agency team over for dinner at the end of the year. We had a big celebratory, delicious dinner, holiday party, because my business paid for it. So that's what I personally like to do. You know me also, if you're listening to this, I love to travel. I love to have my business pay for me to go to all these conferences and trainings and opportunities in different areas. And I love to look back at the photos and be grateful that I have built this business that lets me do that. I don't want to say lets me, that empowers me to do that. That is one of my main goals for having a business, an online business, is that location freedom, that I can travel more and work from anywhere. So I love to every year look back and just celebrate all the places that I've been. So maybe for you, it's a different thing that you're judging your success by, and that is totally fine. Whatever it is, focus on it, make a list, and be grateful. Okay, so that's the framework we're going to go into, these 3 things to do to earn more money in 2026. So number 1 is raise your rates for 2026. That is the fastest, easiest way to make more money. And think about it. Really think about it. When is the last time you raised your rates? If it's been more than 6 months, raise them again. And just be like, the Doula Darcy said it. The Doula Darcy told me to raise my rates. Because you should give yourself a raise every year. Every other business raises their rates every year. I've gotten so many emails in the past couple weeks of, from everything from my home heating oil to my, it wasn't Zoom. Some other software I use all the time. Like all my little softwares that I use in my business are going up incrementally in 2026. So guess what? That means we need to raise our rates too. Groceries are everything it takes for us to live is going up. So as a doula or a sleep consultant, you need to raise your rates in 2026. And this is just you can raise your rates anytime. Doula Darcy gives you permission to raise your rates anytime. But this time of year, December, is such a great time to do it because you can say, my rates are going up in 2026. And if you want to, you don't have to, but you could post on social media, book now, and I'll honor the 2025 rate for your 2026 contract. That's something you could do if that feels good to you. If it doesn't, you could just say, hey, guess what? Rates are going up. But that's a good little social media push if you want to announce that your rates are going up and people have a chance to lock in now. That's a great thing to do if you weren't planning on raising your rates until you listen to this podcast, because you won't lose out on anything. You weren't going to raise your rates anyway. So raise those rates. And okay, the second thing is, and this might surprise you, but this is to track your mileage. And as you go back through those pictures, jot down any place you drove in your car that maybe isn't already tracked on your mileage. So this is when I double check, did I log, each trip to the airport? If I had lunch with a bunch of doulas, did I log the mileage to get to that restaurant? If you have pictures of you hanging up posters for a class, did you track the mileage of driving around town to do that? It is so worth your time to spend a couple hours on this in December to make sure you have every single mile that you drove, that as it relates to your doula business, that you are tracking that and reporting it to the IRS, because the IRS gives you 66 cents a mile. Don't even quote me on that. I don't know what it is this year, but when you're getting 66 cents a mile, that adds up to a lot of money, particularly, I think, if you're a postpartum doula and you're driving every day back and forth to a client's house, those miles add up, and whatever it adds up to multiplied by the 66 cents per mile, that is an expense deducted from what you earn. So it lowers the income amount that you need to pay taxes for. So this can really save you tons of money on your taxes. So you know me, I don't like to tell you to spend money on apps and software if you're not busy enough yet. But I think if you're not good at tracking this on your own on a spreadsheet, it is worth paying a couple bucks a month to get one of those mileage tracking apps like Mile IQ or whatever. There's several of them that all work. I kept track of my mileage for the first probably, 8 years of my business just on a spreadsheet. I had a spreadsheet of the hours I worked and which client I was at, and then I just put the little mileage for each day in another column. If I drove somewhere else that wasn't a client, but it was business related, like a meeting or attending a lecture or anything like that, I would just add that to the mileage column and add it up at the end of the year and then give it to your accountant. Again, I know people probably hear, I say this every year and people are probably like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that, but it's free money. It's free money and it's your money. So take advantage of this. All right, number 3 on my 3 ways to make money at the end of the year, or 3 ways to make more money next year, is, again, as you're going through your pictures, as you're looking through your client list for 2025, send a gift to your biggest clients. Send a card. Who are your top 2 or 3 clients in terms of how much they booked you, how much they spent with you. Send them a gift. Say thank you. And if they haven't left you a review yet, ask them to leave you a review. Remind them to recommend you to all their friends. And again, that's doubling down on the gratitude. The other thing you can do is, if you've been following me and listening to me, you know that I encourage you to add to your intake form when you're interviewing families, add up the question of, how did you hear about me? And pay attention to those answers. First of all, from a marketing standpoint, you want to know if Google's working well for you, if your social media posts are being seen, and then also if people are saying, oh, I heard about you from Jane Smith or Dr. Miller. And you keep track of all those referral sources, because at first, A, lets you know if you have good SEO, if your website's showing up in Google. B, it tells you, what's working and what's not. If you're posting on LinkedIn 7 times a week and not one of your clients says they found you on LinkedIn, then you can let LinkedIn go. And then when people are saying it was Dr. Miller or Jane Smith, you need to, whether it's throughout the year or in December, send them all a handwritten thank you note. And I like to throw in, actually they're right here because I was just doing this, I throw in a little Starbucks gift card. Or if they sent me a lot of referrals, or if they sent me, a 12-week overnight contract, I'll send them a gift. Sometimes I'll take someone out to lunch. This happens all the time with my birth doula besties. I get a lot of referrals from them, and I say, I'll be like, hey, let's go out to lunch. Lunch is on me. I can write off the lunch. I can write off the mileage. I get to hang out with my birth doula bestie. And the point of all this is all these people that you reach out to with gratitude, just that makes them want to refer you more. It solidifies your relationship with them and can turn into even more referrals for your business in the coming year. So this is like turning up the lever, the dial on your word of mouth referrals. You can also, as you're going through your client list and looking at the referral sources, check off and see who hasn't given you a testimonial yet, who hasn't given you a Google review, and send them an email. And maybe also send them a holiday card asking them to do so. A simple handwritten holiday card goes so far, and they remember you, maybe they worked with you back in February. So they too are like, oh, that was 3 years ago. But getting a handwritten note from you in the holiday time, they remember you and they're like, oh yeah, my coworker's pregnant. I've got to tell them that they need to hire their doula. Again, it's like tracking your mileage. It takes a little bit of time to do this, but it pays off. And you can never go wrong with turning up the dial on gratitude. Just being grateful in your heart for everyone you've had the blessing to work with, everyone who you are blessed that is referring you, and all the amazing work you get to do as a doula. You're not sitting in a cubicle being an accountant. You're changing lives. You're witnessing births. You're helping parents in those first weeks when it's so scary and vulnerable for them. I mean, this is important work and you get to do it. And the more grateful you are for that, and the more you express that gratitude, just not only to yourself, but the people in your community, your clients, your colleagues, everyone, the more it expands and the more abundance flows to you. It sounds woo-woo, but it's true. I'm just going to say it. It's the truth. Okay, so I hope this little quickie episode was super helpful for you. I wanted to give you 3 quick ways to ultimately make your business more successful in 2026. So raise your rates, track your mileage, send thank you notes to your referral sources and your biggest clients, and be grateful for all of it. That is it in a nutshell. I certainly am so grateful for all of you who listen to this episode, who DM me and tell me which episodes you really liked and what you got out of it. Those messages just make my day. So DM me on Instagram, find me at the Doula Darcy, send me an email, reach out. I just love hearing from you all. I love hearing how this podcast impacts you and helps you. It's my joy to do it. It's been one of the things I'm grateful for here for me in 2025. So I hope you have very happy holidays and a prosperous new year. Take care.